World War I. Introduction. World War I, fought between 1914 and 1918, was one of the most devastating conflicts in human history. Although centered in Europe, the war had global impacts and played a key role in shaping the modern world. It led to the deaths of millions and the collapse of four major empires, redrawing political borders and laying the groundwork for World War II. Causes of the war. Several factors contributed to the outbreak of World War I, including nationalism. In the late 19th century, nationalist movements gained momentum across Europe. This was especially destabilizing for multi-ethnic empires such as Austria-Hungary and the Ottoman Empire. Imperialism and rivalry. European powers were engaged in competition over colonies in Africa and Asia. Tensions between Britain, France, and Germany were especially high. Arms race. In the early 20th century, major powers invested heavily in military buildup. A notable naval arms race developed between Britain and Germany. Alliance systems. The formation of military alliances turned any regional conflict into a broader war. Two major blocs had formed. The Central Powers, Germany, Austria-Hungary, later joined by the Ottoman Empire and Bulgaria. The Allied Powers, Britain, France, Russia, later joined by Italy, Japan, and the United States. Outbreak of the war. The immediate trigger for the war was the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand of Austria-Hungary by a Serbian nationalist in Sarajevo on June 28, 1914. This led Austria-Hungary to declare war on Serbia. Due to the alliance system, the conflict rapidly escalated into a full-scale world war. Fronts and developments. Western Front. Germany aimed to quickly defeat France using the Schlieffen Plan, attacking through Belgium. However, French and British forces managed to halt the advance. This front soon turned into a deadly stalemate of trench warfare. Eastern Front. Germany and Austria-Hungary fought Russia. Although Russia initially saw some success, it was eventually pushed back by superior German tactics and technology. The 1917 Bolshevik Revolution led Russia to withdraw from the war. Ottoman Front. The Ottoman Empire entered the war in 1914 on the side of the Central Powers. It fought in multiple fronts: the Caucasus, Gallipoli, Mesopotamia, Hejaz, Syria, and Palestine. The Gallipoli campaign was particularly notable, where Ottoman forces repelled British and French troops in a significant victory. Naval and air warfare. Submarines and aircraft were used extensively for the first time. German U-boats posed a major threat in the Atlantic. U.S. entry into the war. Germany's unrestricted submarine warfare and the sinking of American ships led the United States to join the war in 1917, tipping the balance in favor of the Allies. End of the war and consequences. By 1918, Germany and its allies were exhausted militarily and economically. Facing internal unrest and battlefield defeats, they began to retreat. On November 11, 1918, Germany signed an armistice in the Compiègne Forest, officially ending the war. The Treaty of Versailles, 1919, imposed harsh conditions on Germany. It was declared responsible for the war, forced to disarm, cede territory, and pay heavy reparations. These terms fueled resentment and set the stage for the rise of Nazism and World War II. Outcomes of the war. Collapse of empires. The Austro-Hungarian, Ottoman, German, and Russian empires disintegrated. New nations such as Poland, Czechoslovakia, and Yugoslavia emerged. Social and economic impact. Over 10 million people died, and millions more were wounded or went missing. Europe suffered massive destruction of infrastructure and economic hardship. Rise of new ideologies. The post-war chaos led to the rise of ideologies such as fascism, communism, and radical nationalism. The Bolshevik Revolution in Russia established the Soviet Union. League of Nations. An international organization was founded to maintain peace, though it ultimately failed. It was the precursor to the United Nations. Conclusion. World War I not only devastated the battlefields but also reshaped political, economic, and social systems across the globe. It resulted in the deaths of millions and profoundly affected the course of the 20th century. The peace that followed was fragile and temporary. Just 2 decades later, leading to an even more destructive conflict, which is World War II.